Hello, my friend, and welcome to the Disney Travel Secret Show. This is Rob and Kerri Stuart coming to you from the Creating Magic Vacation Studio in beautiful Windermere, Florida. You're listening to episode number 368, original air date March 4th, 2024.
And this week we are all about how to plan your park days.
Spoiler alert, it doesn't have to be as hard as some of the online Disney experts kind of make it seem.
Yeah, so take it away, Hugh.
Hello, my friends. This is former Disney Imagineer Hugh Darley, and you're listening to Disney Travel Secrets with my friends Rob and Kerri Stuart. As you can imagine, I have plenty of Disney secrets myself, and I can't wait to share them with you. Let's get this show on the road. Take it away, guys.
Hello there, my friend, and we're doing something different this show, and some of you have probably already figured this out. So we're in March, which means it is our 7-year anniversary.
Can you believe that?
I cannot.
It's crazy.
for doing this show. And what better way to enter lucky year number 7 than to do something we've never done before, and that is to add video to the show or do the show on video. More on that in a few.
Yeah, so Flower and Garden Festival is in full swing right now. I love this festival. I can't wait to go back again. We like to take it in little doses. I do want to report back, though, because we did go see Groot. That is new topiary this year. And it is not the baby Groot, and it's not the more mature Groot. It's the in-between one.
It's tween Groot.
It's tween Groot.
Okay, I don't know if that's a thing.
Well, but here's kind of a fun thing, is that if you go over to that topiary, one of the things that you definitely want to do is hang out there for a little bit, because he plays music in the boombox.
Yes, he does. He's holding a giant cassette above his head.
We were kind of lucky, kind of not lucky to actually do early entry last Wednesday when the festival opened. But it really wasn't a good reason how we got early entry.
It was not, I know, because we stayed at French Quarter because our septic line was completely clogged. But we did have a great room on the top floor of Building 5 with an amazing river view. Yeah,
that is a great building. If you ever put in building requests, that is definitely one you want to do. But we were really there for 12 hours.
Yeah. And now that is, a lot of you know that's one of our favorite resorts. And we chose it literally because of how close it is to the house. And we knew it was going to be a short stay, just, go there, spend the night. And we're like, well, we were going to go to Flower and Garden anyway. Why not take advantage of early entry?
Yeah, and that actually is really fun at Epcot when you have early entry. So here's your little pro tip. When you go for early entry, as soon as you scan your ticket in, go all the way to the right, because they have a special line only for people who are staying at a Disney resort to get in. Everybody else gets held back right in front of the ball. And so it was kind of fun to walk by everybody and be like, hey, we got early entry. And then we went over, saw some topiaries with nobody around.
That is true.
And one of the cast members was like, hey, she wasn't even a photo pass. And she's like, do you want me to take your picture in front of Groot? And so that was kind of fun and something a little bit different than just running to go and try to get on one of the rides.
And as soon as the rest of the crowd was let in, that area got very crowded. So again, another reason to have early entry, but take advantage of it. And we got there maybe at like 8:45 is when we walked in. So even that 15 minutes did, make a huge difference.
Huge difference. There was no line at Joffrey's, the one that's like over by Guardians. So that was super fun. We also had another unique and really unexpected experience last week. And I like to look back on the week and be like, what were some of the wins? What were some of the highlights? And this definitely was one of mine.
It's also something that we teach our agents, just because it's a home-based business, it doesn't mean stay at home. It means you need to get out there. You need to meet people. You need to have conversations. And last Monday, we went to a book signing, actually our second one, for one of my favorite authors, an author named Steve Berry. And he has a main character. I think this is his 18th novel with a character called Cotton Malone.
Yeah, you really enjoy his books.
I do.
And he also happens to live right here in Orlando. And so usually this is a stop on his book tour. This was the last stop for this particular book.
And here's the funny thing. We do know exactly where he lives, but we can't tell you. It's private.
But we have a strategy. And so we like to sit in the very back of the auditorium.
Yeah, and this is the Winter Park Library.
Yeah, because we know they'll do the book signing right after. We want to be first in line because there were like probably 80 people there. And we're like, we're just going to sit in the back row. So as soon as he opens up the table for signing, we can be there. And that strategy did work, by the way.
Yes, it did.
But there were 2 seats that were just open because nobody wants to sit in the back. But There was a couple that came in. They were just, like maybe a minute or two after it had started. And they kind of came in and said, oh, can we sit here? And we're like, sure.
Okay. Did you recognize her when she sat down?
Okay. So I didn't at first. I recognized her shoes because she had on some really sparkly shoes that were super cute.
Wait, you recognized the shoes?
Well, I liked the shoes. And so I was just like, oh, those are so cute. And I'm like, she's a very well put together individual. And then I look over. So I saw that she had a bag and it had like little Star Wars and a name on it. And I looked at her and I was just like, I think I know who that is.
I saw the bag and I was like, oh, she's got a bag from this person. But I did like it when Steve was sitting down on stage and he said, oh, hi, Ashley, good to see you. And then I was like, then I realized that you were sitting next to her husband, and her husband, David, used to play for the St. Louis Cardinals, my St. Louis Cardinals, from 2005 until 2007.
Yeah. And so, yes, it was the Ashley that you're thinking of, actually, Ashley Eckstein. And I have to say, she was really, really nice. And here's one thing that kind of struck me is I know a lot of people know her for some of her acting roles, and she is a really good interviewer. We saw her in action at one of our earmarked summits, but she is also a very smart businesswoman.
I will say I did not know who she was until we saw her at the Agent Summit last year over in Disneyland. And the crazy thing is, I actually knew who her husband was, but I didn't know who she was.
Yeah. So it was just kind of a fun chance encounter to see her. And she was just absolutely lovely. I appreciate so much all the time that she spent with us. So it is now time.
It is.
I'm so excited about this because this is the week that for those of you who are on our wait list to be an agent, that we are going to be reaching out. And we do this for our Creating Magic Vacations agency. So thank you so much. If you were on the wait list, this is now the time. So we're in that season.
And that had been our plan, for a while, is, get past Agent Palooza in January, knowing February we're going to be really working closely with the agents as they come out of the event, and really help our team have the best February ever, which also turned out to be a record month. We did have one extra day, but still, a day or two short of a regular month. I know it's leap year, but that was the best month we had since we started in June of 2018. So congrats to the whole team over at CMV. And I say that because we really are a team here at our agency.
Yeah. And in fact, we just brought on a new team member at our home office. So we'd love to welcome Jules. She is our new customer experience manager. And it's just fun to see the growth over the years. So we appreciate every single one of you who supports our business and our Creating Magic Vacations travel advisors.
I could not agree more. But also, again, customer experience manager, it's still me that makes the first customer reach out when they fill out the form on the CMV site. It'll still be me calling. It'll be a 727 number, so always expect that. It's more, once our customer is booked and in the system, we want to be able to stay in touch and do a few things that are extra. And so Jules is going to help us do that. So if you're on the wait list for being a travel agent with us, keep an eye out for an email headed your way. I'm blown away at the number of people on that list. So we are very excited.
Yeah, super excited about that.
So last week we talked about how we predicted that Disney would come out with their 2025 packages. Again, this was last Monday's show. And we thought it'd be late May. And then, of course, Disney said, hold my beer.
Or my churro or Dole Whip, or both, right? But that was unexpected and definitely a nice little boost to business. People want to plan their 2025 vacations, and I am still waiting patiently for the cruises for next summer.
I know.
For
DCL is
Disney.
only through May, and I have a client that wants to do a very big graduation trip, but it's going to be in June. We're both looking at the site going, okay, come on, open June up.
Yep. So since we are coming upon our 7-year anniversary, we thought it might be fun for those of you who are new to the show to learn a little bit about our history. So we started Disney Travel Secrets back in March of 2017 after meeting someone who is now a good friend of ours, and that is Pat Flynn.
He also happens to be our podcast mentor. We had really not thought of starting a podcast until we saw Pat talk at an event, a Chalene Johnson event out in LA. And he's also become, again, a mentor, but also one of our travel clients. And now adding video to the show just makes sense. It's really our background. From 2015 to 2017, we were the host of, and we produced a show, a travel TV show called All Aboard TV and that aired on, I think it was, at one point it was Saturday, and then we moved to Sundays.
And we moved to Sundays, yeah.
And that was on the CW network in Tampa Bay. And again, that show was All Aboard TV.
Yeah, and that was a really fun part of our career because not only did we have our client travel agency business growing, but that show, we were able to go and film on a lot of the cruise lines, including sailing on the Med in the tall-masted sailing ship with Star Clippers. That was so amazing. All the way to a very small river cruise on the Amazon. There were only about 25 guests on that one. So that one was super special.
And that ship's gone. I did find
it.
It
is gone.
So I'm glad we have the shirt. But another one of my favorites was filming for a company who's now one of our clients also, and that is Ciao Italy Tours. And we filmed in Rome, Florence, and Venice. We also did a couple side trips to Siena, famous for the Palio in the James Bond movie.
San Gimignano.
Oh yeah, I forgot that part. And then also Cinque Terre. So
Yeah.
that was really fun, and we were with some Italy experts. Each tour guide we had was from that region. So I remember we had Laura, who is a Florentine. She's from Florence. But then when she took us to Siena, she handed us off to a person who lives in Siena, and they were born there. It's not, I live here now. It's someone who was kind of born and raised, and they really know the history and everything about that. I was fascinated by that.
Yeah, that was super fascinating. And when we started our podcast back in March of 2017, we were doing it from our condo in St. Petersburg, and we were literally sitting at our dining room table. And when it comes to just the audio, it didn't really matter though.
That
I know a
is
lot
true.
of people do podcasts and they start out in their closet.
Okay, I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
But when we moved to Orlando in 2022, we turned one of the bedrooms in our new house at the time, into our studio. But it was kind of small and not really that conducive to video. And moving to where we are now, we are in our brand new studio it works perfectly for video, not just the podcast, but some other videos we want to do for our YouTube channel. If you want to check that out, it's YouTube. It's Disney Travel Secrets. And then also we have our other channel that we're starting to build right now, and that is Creating Magic Vacations.
Yeah, lots of good videos on there. And really the big reason that we weren't doing video is because of the time it takes to edit video. Audio is one thing.
Oh, I know. Audio, like if we do a 30-minute show, not to mention all the time doing the research and writing it, but a 30-minute show takes you about 90 minutes to edit.
It's usually a 3 times
And that's
variable.
that's just audio.
And that's just the audio portion. And of course, the whole hair, makeup, get ready. I mean, you were looking for your powder today.
I know it's in one of
You never found
I think it's in that camera bag sitting over there.
But yeah, no. So we've just learned the power of outsourcing those things. And so we do have a video editor that works with us on a monthly basis.
So a big shout out to Rads.
So one of the things that we get asked every single week, and it is a popular question, and that is, how should I plan my park days? And I think that the internet has made planning a Disney vacation so complicated and
confusing.
And guess what? It kind of is, because if you don't know what questions to ask. You don't know what to believe.
That's our favorite saying. You don't know what you don't know. And if that's the case, you don't know what to ask.
Yeah. And when it comes to the parks, it's like, well, what order should I do it in? What dining should I do? And how am I getting to and from the park? But there is not a week that goes by where we are not working with each individual client who, we always say we're here to help you as much or as little as you want. Some are fine. Others are like, I need lots of hand holding. And one thing that I have learned over my about 15 years of being...
Don't say that long.
It has been that long of being a travel advisor is that when it comes to Disney, there is a no one size fits all strategy.
I would agree with that. And I was looking at a post today. It was a travel agent forum, and there was somebody that said, I don't even want to do all the Disney training. They wanted the Disney benefits, but they only took the Disney Cruise Line training. So even for that travel agent, she said, no, the land, the parks, those are too confusing. So
yeah. And it doesn't have to be that complicated at all, but it's really important to know you do want to have a little bit of caution if you're online, you're in these Facebook groups and people are like, hey, here's my guide of how to do Magic Kingdom, because their family is not your family.
Correct.
But we do have some really good strategies that will simplify it and make for a very successful visit.
I'll tell you one family that I think gets it right, and that is the Kelseys.
Yeah, they did.
I started watching, I don't know, I guess, since the whole, leading up to the Super Bowl stuff.
Taylor Swift. Just
no, it wasn't that. It's, Jason and Travis are doing their podcast and they're doing video. I'm like, maybe we should do that as well. Jason Kelsey, though, had some really good advice when it comes to a Disney World trip.
So let's play a little clip of that.
What's the dad hack for taking a family to Disney, Jason?
There is no hack. The dad hack is have zero plans going in and just go with what the day is.
Nice.
Have like one or two things that you got to hit. And outside of that, it's a wild card.
Explore.
The kids are going to be very unpredictable. Know where your exits are, know where your restrooms are, and just don't count on anything going according to plan.
Now, I know it's kind of humorous, but he is not wrong in his advice. Keep it simple.
Absolutely. So let's break it down.
Okay, so there is going to be a difference between a first-timer planning and somebody who has been before, mainly because the first-timer doesn't know what rides to go on, doesn't know about the park, sometimes doesn't even know where the parks are in relation to each other. But that's really the only difference. So if you've never been before, we're still going to give you some good tips and stuff, but you're not going to know anything about the attractions and the shows and entertainment.
That I would agree with that. Also, it's not even if you're a first timer. If you haven't been, maybe you were a kid in the 90s and you haven't been since then, or you haven't been maybe in the last 10 years, and since that time you've started a family, there is so much that has changed at Disney, even in the last couple of years. So we totally understand that, and that's why we are boots on the ground, and we go there to make sure we don't rely on, especially the Facebook groups. Oh yeah, is that true? Is that not? We are there, at the parks pretty much every week.
Yeah, and then plus we're working with all different kinds of families, all types of visitors, everything from adults-only couples, senior couples that go, all the way down to the 20-somethings.
Multi-gen is huge.
Yeah. So here is step one, and that is list out the parks you plan to visit. And I say this because sometimes people come down for a short weekend. Like we had some of our longtime clients that were here with their daughter for, I think it was a graduation, but it was like a mom and dad and daughter special trip.
Right.
And so they were just going to be in the parks for 2 days, and they let her pick. And so shout out to Catherine. And so she wanted to do Magic Kingdom. That was kind of hers. So they park hopped a little bit. But you do need to decide which parks that you're going to be going to.
Well, traditionally, and this is the way we used to advise people, this was, I think, semi-common knowledge at the time, is if someone is going to come down for a 7-day trip, 7-day vacation, usually what they would do in the past, and that's not always the case now, but it's, I think, pretty close, is they would do the parks in the order they were built.
Correct.
So yeah, they would start with Magic Kingdom, and then they would do Epcot, and then Disney's MGM Studios,
which is now Hollywood Studios,
and then Animal Kingdom. And so if you did, so people go like Monday would be Magic, Tuesday Epcot, Wednesday Hollywood, Thursday AK, and then back to Magic.
So if you want to do a little bit of the opposite to avoid, like Mondays at Magic Kingdom, they are so busy. And so are the weekends though, because you get a lot of the weekend
Friday
traffic.
through Monday is Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, pretty much. So try to do things a little bit of the opposite and just kind of shift your days a little bit. And one strategy we have is to save what you're most looking forward to until the end, or use that as your repeat day if you're going to be there long enough that maybe you're going to do 5 days in the park, or that last day you're going to kind of hop around and go back to your favorites.
That's the same way if you're going to do a split stay. If it's at Disney and you're saying, well, we're going to do split stay, we're going to do a value or moderate and also a deluxe, do the deluxe at the end. If you're doing a split stay, which is Disney and Universal, do Universal first, do Disney last. And that's something we've been saying for years.
Yeah, that is so true.
So you're going to find a lot of guides, Facebook groups, Disney people who they have their one strategy for each park. And usually it's going to be, they want to get on the most rides, the most popular rides.
Yeah, theirs is going to be just completely ride focused, but again, not keeping your family in mind and your pacing. So here's the best way to approach your family. Get everybody together who's going to be going. And if they're little kids, they don't know, but mom and dad probably have an idea of what rides they want to go on. And then write down your top 3 must-do attractions or shows in each of the parks. So we're going to start with just the top 3. And again, that could be an attraction, it could be a show. And then what you're going to do is get everybody together, combine your list, and narrow it down to each park. You're going to say, okay, here are our top 3 to 5 must-dos in Magic Kingdom, for example.
Well, if you're going to use, Genie Plus or individual Lightning Lane, it's going to make prioritizing the order to get those in a lot easier.
Yeah, because you have a general idea of what you have to do. So, for example, let's say that you're going to Hollywood Studios and your must-dos are Rise of the Resistance. You want to go on Slinky, because everybody does, Tower of Terror, and then the Indiana Jones show. And those are kind of like your must-dos. So in this case, the strategy for this park, if you were going to buy Genie Plus, would be grab Slinky Dog first. So now we've checked off that one on the must-do.
That one always goes very fast.
It does. And then I would purchase Rise of the Resistance. So now we've checked off 2 of our must-dos. And then when it comes time for your next Genie selection, you're going to grab Tower or Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, kind of depending.
M2R2.
M2R2. Kind of depends on which time is looking a little bit better. And that's it. And that just makes it so simple because you have a plan and then you knock off your must-dos.
If you're new to Disney World and have no idea what ride you want to do, open the app, the My Disney Experience app, and just do some homework. Look at maybe even the week before you're going. Take a look at the wait times, and you'll see the ones that have the longest wait. And guess what? Those will be the most popular rides. That's pretty much, I think, pretty easy to figure out.
Yeah, it really is. So if you're taking notes, some people do when they're watching or listening to a podcast.
Hopefully you're not driving.
And here are some of the big ones in each of the parks. So if you're not familiar, but these are the ones that are always super, super popular. So over at Magic Kingdom, of course, you have Tron. That one's new and people love that one. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Big Thunder Mountain, and Space Mountain. Those are all the big rides. And then for the littles, or for some of you millennials who are bringing your kids for the first time, or maybe the grandparents bringing their kids and their grandkids, the classics. Peter Pan, that one's always so long. And Jungle
that's
Cruise.
The one that's, Peter Pan is the one that surprises me a lot.
But it's the nostalgia of
I know,
it. You know, people are like, oh, you've got to go on it. And it's fun, it's relaxing, and all ages can go on it. And that's the same with Peter Pan.
Over at Epcot, you're going to have, of course, Guardians, Frozen, Remy, Test Track, and then the most popular ride at Epcot, Living with the Land.
Yeah, Living with the Land.
Okay, maybe not.
Is probably not. But if the wait times are ever really long with Living with the Land, you know something's going on.
Oh, I know. We were going to do
bad.
it. We were going to do it last week. I'm like, wait, it's 25 minutes for Living with the Land? Because usually that's kind of a walk-on.
Yeah. Now, over at Hollywood Studios, you have Rise of the Resistance. That one you can purchase, which makes it easy to cross off your list. You have Slinky Dog, Tower of Terror, M2R2, Smuggler's Run, but usually that one can kind of ebb and flow a little bit. And when it's working, Rock and Roller Coaster.
That does seem to be down a lot. Over at Animal Kingdom, of course, you've got Flight of Passage, Expedition Everest. And I say one of my favorites of all time is the Safari Trek. That is just,
That's a great one.
The Safari ride alone is bigger than Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, it's
That
huge.
is mind-blowing.
And it's so good. And I think sometimes the teenagers don't really appreciate it, but it actually is a really, really good ride. And plus it's kind of I wouldn't say it's a relaxing ride at all.
It can be a little bumpy depending on the driver.
But it's very educational. No, it's kind of fun. But here's what's so great about having this top 3 to 5 must-do strategy is you mentally have a great day because you won. You got all 3 to 5 of your must-dos in, and everything after that was just gravy. And so it's kind of like Jason Kelsey. You're setting the bar pretty low, but you have a great day because you're flexible. But you still have a plan, but you're not over-planned.
And also, when planning your day, you do want to keep, pacing in mind. Decide before you go if you're going to be like the rope drop to,
Shut down the park.
Shut down the park strategy. Or if you want to slow down a little, if you're going to park hop, maybe you go rope drop Animal Kingdom and go on the safari ride and do a few things there, come back and relax at the hotel. Maybe late afternoon, early evening, head over to Magic Kingdom and catch the fireworks. That's really what we recommend is, people think when we say park hopper, you're just going to go from park to park all day. And that's not the case. But you have to figure out what the pacing is for your family.
Yeah. And this is where having at least one sit-down meal planned can really come in handy because not only is it just the break, like where you're sit and you're relaxing, but you actually get out of all the activity going on in the park. And I know especially when we go over to Magic Kingdom, and if we just do a sit down, whether it's at Skipper's Cantina or over at the Tony's Town Square.
Well, Skipper's is kind of our go-to over at Magic Kingdom.
But it's just kind of nice to get out of all of the crowds. And that is just relaxing in and of itself. So just planning at least one sit down. And it doesn't have to be a table service. It can still be a quick service.
I know some of the, when I think of quick service, a lot of times what we'll do is if we're at Magic Kingdom, we'll go to Casey's and get
a mobile order.
Get a mobile order,
corn dogs.
The corn dogs, some cheese fries and a soda, and just sit on the grassy knoll outside of Casey's corner, and just kind of people watch your great views of Cinderella Castle, but take some time and just sit down and relax.
Yeah, no, and it is relaxing. And for some people who choose to bring in their own sandwiches and stuff, there's plenty of places that you can go and
Absolutely.
Just relax. So,
and that's a great strategy for those of you, again, if you're trying to save some money when it comes to dining at Disney. bringing your own snacks and sandwiches is a great way to do it.
Yeah, and it especially works out well for breakfast because breakfast food in the parks is hard to come by, and those lines get kind of crazy. That is true. But the shows are also a really great way to pace your day. And every single park has multiple shows. And if you think about it, there's quite a few. And for little kids, that could be a good time for them to take a nap.
During the show, yep.
During the show, yeah. I mean, why not, you know? Or if you're down here in Florida and it's really hot or it's going to be raining, then the shows are also a good place to get out of the elements. And I will say, Disney has world-class entertainment. These are very, very good shows.
They are, and that's kind of, you mentioned it being hot. That's how we first ran across Marty Sklar back in like 2013, 2012.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was 2012.
It was Epcot's 30th, and we went in the tent where he was giving us, a talk just to get out. It was air conditioned, just to get out of the sun.
Yeah, so you never know. You never know what's going to be going on if there's like a festival or special event.
And I say some of our favorites are. We love the Indiana Jones
so good
stunt spectacular. And the reason is, I think the biggest reason is our friend Kevin is the original Indiana Jones. He still acts as the producer, although he rarely works weekends. He's got a pretty good schedule.
He has seniority.
But Lightning McQueen Racing's Academy.
I know a lot of people miss that one. It's a shorter show. It's like 20 minutes.
It's over past Tower of Terror. And if you're not going to...
Rock and Roller Coaster.
And also on the way to Rock and Roller Coaster. So if you're not going back there, you might not even know it's there.
And it's really cute.
It is. I remember we did some video of that. I'll
have to
look for that footage. Carousel of Progress is another one. I can't even tell you how many times that we've seen that, and I still enjoy just looking at the different decades from that show.
Yeah, and then over in Epcot, you have some things in some of the world or in some of the countries. So the China Pavilion has some things in there, but there's Turtle Talk with Crush.
And we know someone who is friends with Crush.
Yeah, and so you definitely have like some stage shows with some of the bands that perform in some of the countries, but there are shows over in Epcot that you should enjoy. And
when you do, when you are planning your strategy, sometimes it works if you think opposite.
Yes.
And most people, when they go into a park, and let's say it's Magic Kingdom, they're going to go towards the hub, they're going to go by Cinderella Castle, and then go to the right, or go past it to the right. So if you go left, you might have fewer crowds over there.
Yeah, and that's like pretty typical too. Like in Epcot, it's so funny. At the beginning of the morning, you'll see all the people behind the rope. As soon as they drop the rope, people either rush to Spaceship Earth because it's the first thing there. And if they don't know of any rides, they're just going to go with what they see first, or they're going to run over to Frozen.
And we were there last week, and we were walking past. Again, we were going back specifically to go see the Groot topiary. And as we walked by Spaceship Earth, there was no line. It was like 3 to 5 minutes. And then an hour later, it was a half hour wait.
It was a half hour wait, yeah. And I still think the posted wait time was lower than it actually was, just based on we know how long those lines take.
It seemed to be more than 30 minutes.
Yeah,
for sure.
But if you think opposite, and if you go into a park and you see everybody going one direction, go the opposite, because there's a good chance that nobody's going to be going that other way.
I think that's a planning strategy that we shared 7 years ago.
I'm pretty sure
it is.
The show. But Disney knows, and they can anticipate this park flow.
Oh, they know where you are.
I mean,
There's
they actually
no
have
doubt.
like engineers and people who study it. And so there's no reason why you can't use some of that data that they're putting on the app for you. And you can use that to also plan your day. And that's why I say spend some time in the app before your trip, because it's super easy to anticipate when the levels are going to be a little higher.
I would say the wait times in the app are pretty accurate. They know.
Yeah, because they show the forecasted wait times. If you click on a ride, then you'll see they have like hour by hour. And one thing you'll notice is towards the end of the day, the wait times go lower and lower and lower. So if you are one of those people that like to sleep in on a Disney vacation and you're stressing out going, all these people get their rope drop, I don't know if I want to wake up and get there super early, you're golden, because if you can wait it out, then you can probably go on a lot more rides. I know a lot of our friends who are local, they're like, oh yeah, I'll show up to the park at like 7:30 and I will go on about 6 rides at Magic Kingdom, just knock them off. They're almost all walk-ons.
Because at that time at Magic Kingdom, everybody's kind of getting in position for the fireworks.
Yep.
If you want to hit a lot of the Magic Kingdom rides, do it right before and during the fireworks.
Yeah, and during the fireworks for sure.
And even, I'd say, coming and going to the parks, there's a strategy, and that's also based on where you're staying. But if you arrive right at park open or even the early extra hours, there's going to be a crowd. And the same if you leave right after the show. I mean, if you're trying to leave Magic Kingdom after the fireworks, or the same over at Epcot, there's going to be a huge crowd. I remember because we, a lot of times we leave the back entrance from Epcot, and the line for the Skyliner, we've seen it go over the bridge over by Beach Club
Yeah, it's crazy.
to get on the Skyliner, which is just insane.
Yeah, and many times we have left just a few minutes early, and just those few minutes make a huge difference. And when we have left through the back entrance and then we hop on the Skyliner, what's really cool is you can see the end of the show, if you time it out just right, from the air. And why Disney doesn't pipe in the music for that show in the Skyliner little
I think
cab things, I don't
a
know.
lost opportunity because you know that would be
So there's your little
easy.
pro tip is queue up some of the music to have so you can just play it on your cell phone as you are,
on the
Skyliner going away. That would be so fun.
The bottom line is enjoy the parks and really take in all of the little details that a lot of people, they either they don't pay attention to them or they don't notice them, but there is so much that the Imagineers did. And a lot of times they'll try to hide little things. So you have to kind of look for them.
Yeah, and talk to cast members too, because there's a story for everything in the park. And that is something that is super unique about Disney, even all the way down to the details like go to Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar in Disney Springs. There is a story of that entire place, and talk to the cast members and they will share some really cool things that are in there that you probably would have never known. And for you teens that are listening, yes, I'm talking to you teenagers listening on the show, you may discover something new that you like. And you may say, you know what, I would love to be a performer, or I would love to be an Imagineer and design attractions, or be a light and set designer. But there's things when you pay attention to the details that it may just give you that one little spark, as they say.
Well, thank you, Marty. Something else to think about. Like if I was younger and I could go back in time, I would probably do the Disney College program.
100%, I would too.
I know so many people that their kids are like, yep, that's what they're going to do. So as always, again, we're talking about, helping build your itinerary. Get with us or one of our amazing Creating Magic Vacations travel agents. And if you want to book directly with us, head over to creatingmagicvacations.com and click on the button Plan Your Vacation, because again, we can book you all the way through October of 2025.
Yeah, and our goal is to get you ready to step foot in the parks and to not feel overwhelmed and to not worry that you're not going to get something in because you're not going to be able to do it all. There's a lot to do in the parks. So narrow it down, create your priority list, and you are golden. Decide your pacing, and that's pretty much all you need to know before you go.
Again, thanks for listening, and for some of you, thanks for watching. And until next time, have a magical day.
We hope to see you real soon.